Welcome.
Popcorn time.
It's been a while since I've been here, at least. But.
Yeah, well, where have I been?
Yeah. Well, you guys may have done one in May, I think. I wasn't here for that. The last one I was here for
I don't
was
think we did
February.
one without you.
Okay.
Yeah. We wouldn't. Never.
It's been a while.
Yeah, you were on the old honeymoon, huh?
Yeah, but we're back for summer fun.
Summer loving. So we got a movie coming up later, as usual. We'll do a little picture-in-picture commentary on called
Shrek 3.
Shrek 3, yeah.
Shrek in the Night.
Shrek in the Night. I thought about that too.
Yeah.
It's a shriek in the night.
A shriek in the night. We can't show Shrek. It's copyrighted.
Yeah, right. Come on, people.
Yeah.
I think there's a few. That janitor dude looks a little like he's got the body type of Shrek.
He kind of does look like an ogre.
Yeah.
He does.
So that stars old Ginger Rogers, which I only remember her name coming after Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers.
Yeah.
But, she did other things apparently. No dancing in this one. So.
No.
So yeah, that's a good one. We'll check that out later. But first, let's review what's currently going on in the culture. Do we just want to jump into movies, or is there any pop events?
I guess we can talk movies first.
We're not going to take down the Zimmerman trial.
No, yeah. Analyze that. Now, Nancy Grace has got that on lockdown. We don't need to go there.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I do think that knock-knock joke is the most bizarre thing.
How did he think that would go over?
I thought he was doomed after I heard that, but everything I hear lately...
Apparently the prosecution's so terrible that I guess they overcame that.
And I've actually heard a lot of good things about the defense since then, but starting with a knock-knock joke. So yeah, currently in theater. Let's kind of talk about the current blockbusters, I guess, and then we'll build up to... We got a full review to do for The Heat, which we saw in theaters. But let's talk things you've probably already seen, but maybe not too far away from either, I don't know, your dollar shows or your Redbox or your Blockbuster shows. Star Trek Into Darkness. I guess that's my favorite one of the summer so far. I only saw it once. I usually, for something I really like, I go see it again. But
I'd rank it the highest out of the... Well, I mean, you know, if you want to mix everything together, it's up there. From what I've seen since May. Good. Love the cast again, same cast.
Right,
so we know the cast is good. The special effects were awesome. And I do like, spoiler alert, I like how they switched it up with Khan killing Kirk instead of Spock, which was in the original movie. So.
I think at this point, you can mention that Khan is the villain in this one. And the cool thing about that, it's played by, what's this dude's name? I
forget his name.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Craig Ferguson's like, that's the most British name ever or something. But so the cool thing is that if you watch the original series, there was this episode where Khan was in it. Did you ever see that one?
No, I did not.
And it was Ricardo Montalban, so they didn't just pull him out of a hat when they made Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. He was playing the same character he'd played before, and this episode was called Space Seed. You can look it up on Netflix or whatever. And they come across a ship or something, and Khan and his, whatever it was, 72 other people who were these kind of genetic super soldiers or something like that, and they'd fought in a previous war, and I guess they tried to take over or something, and they'd been put into some kind of almost like a phantom zone, but cryo sleep or something like that. So in that episode, Kirk and company, they wake up Khan, and then he wakes up, I don't know, at least a couple others, I think, and he tries to take over the ship and everything. So the whole reason in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan that you see him in exile again, this time he's on some planet, and he and his other followers, is because that's where Kirk or whoever put him, the Starfleet. And obviously now, if you didn't get it from the first movie, they created like an alternate timeline here based on the fact that those Romulans came into our time period, whatever, the Star Trek time period at an early date. They killed off Kirk's dad, which had... So basically you're seeing things can happen differently in this time frame, so it's not going to happen exactly the same way that Kirk comes across. Anyway, long story short, Khan's the villain, and he's pretty awesome. Yeah,
he is. I had one of my buddies who saw the movie with me was skeptical that he'd be a good villain just from the previews, but...
That actor?
Just the actor, right? The actor, because
he
didn't look, I don't know, I guess from what he saw, but there was a great fight scene where he just takes out all these Klingons. I mean, like this guy comes in, has this huge gun shooting them, knocking them all. I mean, Klingons are stronger than humans. So you're like, well, who is this guy? What's he doing? And it was Khan. And
it was nice to briefly see the Klingons too.
It was, They
updated their makeup once again, their prosthetics or whatever. But there was, at the end of that scene, he says something to him, Captain Kirk or whatever. And he goes, Captain. And that, to me, was like, I've seen Wrath of Khan like a gazillion times. One of the lines I really remember is when Kirk, when Chekhov first says something about Admiral Kirk. And of course, last time Khan had met Kirk in the old series, he was just a captain. He's like, Admiral Kirk, Admiral Kirk. So just that, I love those little. And the other thing is that they have this Carol Marcus character who was an old lady or middle-aged lady, not old, but middle-aged lady in Wrath of Khan. So they're really playing on both the TV show and the other source material. So it's great writing. And I got to say, yeah, they said the cast. I mean, freaking Chris Pine just went to another level. As you know, William Shatner, I've forgotten you forever. It's over. So
Yeah.
Anyway, next big movie was Man of Steel. And that was, again, I think pretty good.
It was okay, yeah.
You thought it was a little,
well, I mean,
something?
just the whole, I mean, this isn't that movie itself, but all these superhero movies, which I do like. I like they have the technology now to do them and look pretty realistic. But just all the fight scenes to me are getting a little repetitive when they're blowing up, throwing people through buildings and through pavement. And it's, it's getting a little...
That's started to become a thing.
There.
I don't know if you've ever seen any of those animated Supermans, but that's become a thing in Justice League Unlimited and in the Superman cartoons, or that people are getting knocked through buildings or whatever, and so I guess they feel like they have to kind of do some equivalent of that. But I don't know if that was okay with me. I was a little worried that we were going to go through the whole origin story again, but surprisingly, I thought that was handled pretty well, and somehow I really like Kevin Costner again. I mean, not that I ever hated him, but I'm like, he has a little gravitas to him. So, and I gotta say, Lois Lane to me was a more memorable character than certainly the last movie. She was nothing. That whatever Superman Returns. That
one. I don't even remember half.
I am kind of surprised though. It seems like the public is a little hard to. I mean, I'll get it that I didn't like Superman Returns either. If you didn't like that, I don't think it was as bad as some people thought. That was with Brandon, whoever, but. But this Henry Cavill dude, this English dude, he's a good Superman. She's a good Lois Lane. They came up with a good plot. They paid homage, but they updated, and they had Russell Crowe as great as Jor-El, his father. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for more. I did hear some people say, or some critics say, that too much of this bashing around kind of stuff. But
and I know Stephen Colbert was upset they didn't have the red underwear on the outside of the Superman costume.
Yeah, that really is the trend in superhero movie. You got to make them kind of muted. They can still have color, but they got to really be muted. That kind of thing. So one other big summer fair was This Is the End, and that one, I gotta say, it was slight disappointment just because I thought it would be really kind of like fall off my chair laughing, but I got enough chuckles throughout that I certainly recommend it, and it was decently written. The other thing is that it's almost all takes place in this James Franco's house. So when you have that kind of single set thing, they get out of it occasionally, and certainly at the end, but I don't know, you have to make that script really funny, and I don't know. I didn't laugh as much as I
really.
Would.
Yeah, See, I laughed a lot.
You really? Okay,
I thought that was probably a tad funnier than The Heat.
Oh, okay.
I do think so, just because their interactions and everything, and just kind of how they make a lot of them just kind of. Yeah. I guess these self-serving, just pompous actors, and they play on that, which is funny. And Jonah Hill, I thought, was great in it. How he's Mr. Nice Guy, but you can tell he's putting it on though. Yeah. I mean, he's not really Mr. Nice Guy. And then in the end, near the end, his true colors show, and he prays to have the one guy just kill him. Please God, just kill him.
I guess the thing that bothered me a little about him was I thought he was trying to do this sort of fake kind of thing, and I thought, I've never seen Jonah Hill. I've seen interviews and stuff, and he never seems like a kind of almost gay kind of guy or whatever. So it just seemed a little weird to me. But I got to say, James Franco, I was just looking at his face sometimes, and he brings it, man. And they're all talented. And it is a good movie. It's just I just wanted to really just kind of like. Just like I said, I just wanted to fall onto the floor.
I think one of the funniest scenes was when Emma Watson's in it, who was in Harry Potter, and she was at the party. Then everything goes down, and then she comes back, and they're like having this thing. How we need to make her feel comfortable. Basically like insinuating we don't want her to think she's going to get raped. She's hearing them say this through the wall, and it just gets all weird. You
guys are talking about raping out here. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to The Heat. With Sandra Bullock and Melissa. McCarthy, and she's of course in Mike and Molly, which I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep her on that show because
she's blowing up.
She's blowing up, and she's good. I mean, I think she's really the thing to watch here. I mean, of course, Sandra Bullock's playing the straight straight woman, so of course she's not going to have all the funniest lines. But the plot is a little, I'd say, maybe slightly convoluted, or maybe just seemed to go on a bit long to me. And they worked in this whole thing where the Melissa McCarthy character, her brother, was somehow tied into the mob. I'm not sure they needed to bring all that in, but they clearly wanted to show her family life and how they were a bunch of, once again, you get the, sorry, Bostonians, you're the parody of the, we can parody you all we want. You in the South, that's what we can do, But any thoughts on like just the general tenor of the film?
I do like Melissa McCarthy, but I wonder how long she can keep up.
Yeah,
that
what's
kind
the
of
range
act.
here?
Right, because I haven't seen Identity Thief. I know it got bad reviews.
It was okay.
Yeah, but it kind of seems, even though she's a cop in this and a criminal in that, it kind of seems like the same type of character.
Very similar, yeah. And the only thing I'd say that sets this apart is that the script was a little better, it was a little funnier. And the same thing, I chuckled throughout. I didn't really have any huge belly laughs, but it kind of, I think it crackled enough with their kind of interaction. They just had a better kind of chemistry with her and Sandra Bullock. And I don't know, Jason Bateman's usually pretty reliable, but I guess it doesn't always work out. And not that Identity Thief is horrible, it's just kind of, it's a road trip movie. That's the other thing. It's like, okay, I got to go get her and bring her. She rips off his identity. He's got to bring her back. Like, that's what happens when you go find the person and you take them to the cops, right? So here the idea is, though, that Sandra Bullock is this very straight-laced, but also very smart, annoyingly smart FBI agent. And she's sent to, I can't remember, they're in Boston, right? She's sent to investigate, find some Uber criminal who, I guess, just because he tortures people or cuts them up, that's the whole reason they want to really.
And he's a big drug dealer.
And all that, So, and then Melissa McCarthy is obviously wired into that whole local scene, and they butt heads because they are going after some low-level dealer or something like that.
Right.
So then they have to work together, as you do, and it's been hailed a lot as, oh wow, a female buddy cop film. Has this really not been done before? I mean, it seems hard to believe that there hasn't been a female buddy cop.
But I guess they're not one I can think of. I'm sure there's been something similar, but nothing big. So
I guess we're not counting Cagney and Lacey. It was a little light on the laughs, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, they have good, and I will say Sandra Bullock's in the same kind of thing of somebody who compared her performance to, she's basically playing the same character she played in whatever that one was with Ryan Reynolds. This, here I am, I'm Miss Uptight and straight-laced, and of course I've got to learn to be more, I don't know if you should become so loose or whatever with the rules as an FBI agent that whenever you need to get people to do what you want, you just pull your gun on them. Yeah. That's one thing that bothered me a little, is that there's a couple of moments where, a couple times, like Sandra Bullock's character says, she learns what a great cop this other one is, and really, on paper, unless you're just counting how many perps she brought in, that's one thing, but she's clearly somebody who's a terrible cop in terms of
she doesn't follow
following the rules.
Laws,
and I've never seen a cop in any show where the scene where, I guess they reversed that scene of, I don't know, Kevin Smith joked about it in Cop Out, the scene where, they have to go into the boss and the boss has to tell them what idiots they are, and they can just curse them out and everything like that. So in this scene, Melissa McCarthy tells the boss what a dork he is and starts making fun of the size of his testicles. Always a favorite with men. And he seems really just demoralized or whatever, beaten down by having to deal with her. And she does just routinely pull her, like, my favorite is when somebody says she can't use a cell phone in a hospital. She's like, how about now? Or something. To me, that gets a little too cartoonish. And it undercuts that idea of what Sandra Bullock's character is saying, is that she's so awesome. She's got a lot of heart, but she does violate a few rules on the way. So anyway, but I'd say I'd still recommend it. It's good.
Yeah, it's worth seeing.
Good summer fare.